Why, hello, everyone. Welcome to Jolene's Happy Time Craftcast. I am excited as always, and turns out I'm quite excitable to be with you again on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been away on travel, and it was a long one. It was like 10 days on a business trip. And you go to things like conferences, and I loved it so much, but the brain fog is real of being gone for that long. So I still feel like I'm catching up, but I'm so grateful that I went. But I am a little fuzzy today, which is kind of why, one of the reasons why I'm really excited to have on the show somebody that I have admired and treasured for a very long time. We've tried to get him on the show in the past, but we've had like some scheduling challenges because he's just so popular and in demand by all kinds of people. But I got him today. And if you have seen him on social media, like me, you already know what an absolute treasure and gem Timm Sevitz is to the crafting community. So Timm is an artist, an author, and a crafter who shares creativity with over 1 million followers. He teaches fun, easy craft ideas that inspire all ages to create with confidence and enjoy the process. His goal is to help every young artist feel valued while exploring new techniques. Timm has collaborated, get this, with brands like Crayola, Ego, Michaels, Cricut, Brother, Joann Fabrics, Epson, and more. And he has something very special, I believe, that's launching here in just a few days. So I will let him tell you more about that. But that's enough of all of that. He's miraculous and wonderful, and I'm so glad he's here. So here he is. Here's Timm Sevitz. Hi, Timm.
Hi, Jolene. Oh my gosh, I am teary-eyed. I need for you to follow me around all.
Well, Timm, this is
Thank you
recorded. You
so
can just
much.
play it
Oh my gosh, I
anytime.
need
And
like a tissue.
I meant every single word. I am so happy for you. And I feel like when I see you on social, I'm not sure if you and I started at the same time or I don't really know, but I just remember I felt like we were kind of walking hand in hand on the journey. And then all of a sudden, my friend, whoosh, you just, and I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. I honestly don't know how that all happened. But I think that we did start together, and I feel like that's why I like so invested in like your little journey and like everything that you do, because it's almost kind of like, what do they say, like minds, or like when you're
Right.
in like the trenches together, you kind of like start to like bond. And I
Yes.
feel like I have that with your
Oh,
journey as well. So thank you for all of your kind words.
oh, I mean every single word. So tell us this really exciting thing that's happening on the 8th.
Well, I have out of the blue, somebody reached out to me and wanted to collaborate, and wanted to see if I would write a children's book. And so I was like, I kind of like him and Todd about it. I was like, what in the world am I gonna like? I'm not an author. I don't know anything about it. And so I just decided to, that was when I was kind of like in the mindset of like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to say yes to all of these
Mhm.
great opportunities. And I said yes. And so fast forward to almost April 8th, I have a
Mhm.
little kids craft book coming out, which I'm really excited about.
I just loved your
I can't
video
believe it.
your video when you got like your preliminary copy or what, however that worked. And I was right there with you. It felt so emotional and like I got tears in my eyes. And I mean, say what you will about social media, but for some of us, I believe it has just been the biggest blessing. My friend Lacey wrote a book. You wrote a book. We've got people like just being acknowledged and treasured for their amazing talent and insight. And I'm just so happy that you are one of them. I want to be like you someday. I hope that I can do it.
Oh, thank you so much. You can send me an email. um,
Well, I hope
uh,
so. I hope so. I
I
think it's so aspirational, really. Like I'm so, I'm just so happy that like the world is going to get like this taste, this bite, this like opportunity to see you like IRL, right? Like it's not on social, like they can hold it and experience it.
yeah. Yeah, I still honestly, I'm not sure that I have even wrapped my head around it. If you would have told me, I mean, like back in my video, I kind of said that it's like a little bit of validation.
Yeah.
I grew up um not being can I make a side note here?
Yes.
If my brain just like goes out, I'm feeling very like fuzzy too today. And so
You're safe here.
I'll go on like all of these random tangents. Pull me back in, yeah.
You're in good company, not a worry in the world.
Thank you. Anyway, what was I talking about? Um,
The
so
book.
like when I was little, I didn't have, oh, I'm sorry. There's a little bit of lag. I
Oh,
apologize. When I was little, I had a lot of like learning problems. I wasn't like the most popular little kid in school. I loved to draw. I loved to be artistic. I got picked on a lot. And fast forward, when all of this kind of like landed in my lap, I knew that I wanted to do something with it and be kind of responsible and really encourage other little people to be kind and be creative, like really lean into who you are as a person. Don't be ashamed of who you are. And I hopefully a little bit of that is included in the book. I hope that that comes across. But if you going back, if you would have told me that I would have been an author of like a little kid's book that you could go and pick up at like Barnes and Noble, or you can order it online or anything like that, I would not have believed you, because it's just I still can't really believe it. It's crazy.
it's crazy, and I mean, it's exciting, and listening to your experience of, I mean, first of all, um, being picked on as a little kid or in school. I mean, that's just the worst, and
It is.
it's
It
it's
really
just
is.
absolute worst. And I have memories of there was a boy in middle school that used to pick on me. And later as adults, he like kind of he wanted to strike up a conversation with me. And I just remember feeling like he had no memory of the torment that he caused me. But I did.
Mhm,
I certainly did.
mhm,
And it's just
mhm,
incredible to me how all of that can be so formative. And I wonder about my own children and if they have stories like that that I might not be privy to. And it always kind of brings
mhm.
me back to like, who's your mom? Like, who's your mom? And like where was she when you were being a
Who's
jerk?
responsible for this?
And it's not the mom's fault either, but like I wonder about that
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
feel like if my kids were bullies to someone, my heart would just break, you know? Anyway, that's a tangent for
yeah.
sure, but I'm sorry that happened to you. And I have experience with it myself. And I
No,
know
oh my
it
gosh, please.
sucks.
I appreciate you saying that, but I think now, that I'm older, I'm
Mhm.
a little bit more wise. I
Yeah.
think that, it's my responsibility to take that hurt, take that, whatever that
Mhm.
is, and make it a positive thing. And so,
Sure.
while yes, that did happen and all of that, it's, what am I going to do with it if I always say like the only person that you're hurting is yourself. And so
Right.
instead of like just wallowing around in it, it's like I'm just going to do something fun and positive with it and
Mhm.
show other, little people that it's okay to be weird and like color and be creative.
Well, and
You could do it full time
that
if you want.
don't you think that weird is the new cool? I mean, I do. I I love weird.
Yes, I
I
totally
love
do.
weird so much. I think it's just the best because probably because it's my people, right? And I totally identify and am a card carrying member myself. So when you think about
Yeah.
like all of the things that you do creatively, and you do so many things, do you have like a favorite project, a favorite medium, a favorite technique? Like, what is your go-to?
I typically right now, oh my gosh, that's an interesting question. I think I love whenever like a gigantic box comes in the mail from like, like Amazon or something like that, because it's like this like fresh, clean slate. You could do whatever you want with it.
Mhm,
So cardboard, I think I even like early on, like in my videos, and even before then, I would do like all of the craziest things with cardboard.
mhm.
Actually, now that I think about it, going back to my very first like TikTok video, it was like this like gigantic cardboard haunted house, that I was like, I'm just gonna make this for fun. So I think that that's probably
Yeah.
probably the one that I go to the most. The other one that I have a real fondness for is probably like felt and fabric, which I don't really show too much on my channel, but I love working with it. I love
Mhm.
creating something that is like flat, but you can turn it into something that's like
Right.
three-dimensional, and I that still kind of like blows my mind.
Well, I think what you and I have in common artistically is that we don't tend to shy away from fiddly. Like you cut teeny tiny little pieces of things, right, to make other things, and you don't tend to shy away
Uh-huh.
from little miniature fiddly bits to work with, and neither do I. Like I love it. Like give me all the
Mhm.
fiddly, because I think that as I've grown as an artist, I used to shy away from fiddliness, but now I kind of like it.
I do too.
Yeah.
Anything that's like to me, I remember like as a little kid, as a little kid, we would go to they were like little miniature shows where like people would create like these tiny, tiny little things. And I just remember being like so enthralled with it and being
Mhm,
like, this is amazing.
mhm.
I'm not very good at making things look realistic, but boy, I sure do love looking at it and I have
Right.
a great appreciation for it.
So when you want to
Sometimes I
be
also forget to like with like making little kids. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, no, you keep going.
Sometimes I do forget that I'm making kids like crafts for little kids, and so like when I do get like too detailed oriented, I'm like, oh, this might not be the best. Like maybe this is
Right.
more for like a teenager or an adult that likes this. Whoopsies.
So in your practice then, Tim, are you like continually coming up with ideas and projects for others? Or do you also have time in your art practice to feed yourself?
Well, Jolene, that's a great question.
Thank you. I'm here with
Um,
the hard hitting news. I'm cutting edge.
I Yes, yeah. I feel like, in the very beginning, it all was kind of like feeding my creativity, and I loved every second of it. I think probably since I started the book and maybe a little bit before
Mhm,
that, it started to feel like a job, and
mm,
um, it it was not quite as fulfilling, making all of these fun little things. Even though I'm working with all of these supplies and beautiful, great little like glitter and glue and all of
mhm,
that, it just wasn't doing anything to feed my soul. So I have started to do other things now that I don't film. That it's
mhm.
just for fun.
Yeah.
I think that that is really important.
Mhm.
But I don't have anything like long. Like I'm not a painter,
Right.
or I don't really do anything like too like long term. It's all just kind of like funny, like weird little things that I probably just make for myself. But
That's
I
awesome.
do. feel like now I need that more than ever.
So, one of the things that, here on my little show that I'd like to talk about is I share with folks what's on my work table and what I'm working on right now. And for those of you listening, I see you here in real life. I'd like to know what you guys are working on too, so that Tim and I can like be inspired and see what's up with the rest of you. But on my
Yes.
work table right now, so Tim, did you happen to see, and I mean, I have to be like, own my own behavior here. I have been so busy with my farm and businesses and stuff that I haven't posted to social in a while. And I will definitely get back to it. But my goodness, like sometimes, like in the pinch, like something has to be the give. And I just feel like if I'm not making quality content, I just can't bring myself to like, anyway. So the last
Yeah.
big project that I
Yeah.
posted was my sunrise. Did you happen to see that? It was the book board one. It was the one that was on CBS Sunday Morning for like just a couple seconds. It was made out of book board. It was 53 by
No.
34. Did you miss that one? Well, so
Was
it was huge.
was this on TikTok
Yeah,
or
yeah, it was on TikTok, and it also was featured on CBS
gosh,
Sunday
I missed
Morning.
that.
Yeah, it I mean, I did it live.
Congratulations.
Well,
That's
thank you. It
amazing.
was fun. It was fun. And I was encouraged by friends and followers to submit it. And I didn't know that CBS Sunday Morning did this. So I didn't even really know what to expect because their whole thing is a sunrise. And so in between each segment, they show sunrise art. And I didn't know that. So it was really thrilling and really exciting. And I was so grateful to my friends and followers who suggested that I do it. But I did a lot of my sunrise on a live. And it was so fussy. It was piecing bookboard pieces into a mosaic, and each ray was its own color of bookboard. And then I separated the rays with black bookboard. It took me, I think, a month to finish it. And there
Oh
was
my
a lot of
goodness.
swearing. Like it was because it was so frustrating, to get all of the pieces to fit. And of course, when I got done, I was like, that's it. I'm never doing another one of those. That was way too hard. But now, Tim, now I can't get out of my head. Have you seen these beautiful quilts of like animals? And like maybe it's a fish and it's color blocked and they're not realistic at all,
Yes.
but like each piece of the fish is like a different color of fabric. Well, I want to do this with
Yes.
bookboard, but in my mind's eye, I see a
Joleen.
bear.
That's amazing.
And I don't know why I see a bear, but I see a bear,
I love that.
right? And so where I'm at in my like creative process is I have to make a pattern, so I have to figure that out. And then I think I'm going to treat the book board almost like you would English paper piecing in a quilt. Like I will cut out the paw and I will make it with the mosaic of book board. And then I got to somehow figure out how to get it all back together. But I can't, I mean, do you ever have those? Like I can't stop thinking about it.
First of all, that's amazing. That fits perfectly into what you do, and I don't know what you have in your brain, but I can just picture it in like the Joleen, like in your style, and that is
Right.
amazing. Do it.
Well, I don't, I
That sounds
hope it
awesome.
works. I mean, I never know.
Yeah, that's really cool. I completely forgot the question because like just hearing like your whole process and everything, I feel like sometimes people, well, I don't know. I'm sort of generalizing, but sometimes I feel like people are like, "Oh, that's easy. I can make that myself." But when you actually like start to hear like when you were explaining
Mhm,
when you were explaining your process, what all goes into it, you have to figure everything out. You have to like make all of those little shapes. That's
mhm.
that's crazy. I'm not crazy, but it's crazy in a good way, but,
Well, it does. I
I
mean,
love
it
that.
seems it seems a little daunting. And it's like as you see these quilts, like, and who knows if like the machines are listening, right? Like maybe you'll get a whole bunch of them come across your feed now, but it's like it's like the color blocking like helps you distinguish the values, right? So you've got highs and lows of color,
Mm.
and it helps you distinguish the shape. I think it's called color blocking. I think I'm not sure, but once I saw it in a
Okay.
quilt, like my current obsession is book board, and trying to find a a grout, that something to grout it with that doesn't make it wet, because it's the tiny little piecing
Oh.
that hurts the brain, right? So if I could fill it with something,
Mhm.
but I can't, because it's really just paper covered cardboard. So I can't get it wet and wipe it
Mhm.
away. So if you have a thought, I would love to hear what I could shove in between the cracks, because that's where all the swearing happens.
I can imagine. Does it have to be
Mhm.
lightweight too? Like, or is it, oh man.
Not necessarily, because usually in these
Okay.
projects, my substrate is what's heavy. And the book board isn't that heavy. It's not like paper super heavy. Like if you recall my project called Money Roll, where I rolled up all the ends of the gold gilded edges,
Yeah.
like that girl, she weighs 107 pounds. Like she's really, really heavy. But book board doesn't give me the same
Whoa.
kinds of challenges. It's just the piecing, right? Because I don't want gaps between them. I want them to like tuck in nice and tight. So I haven't figured out what
Uh-huh.
that is. Like, what is a non-wet grout?
I'm gonna, if I come across anything, I'll let you know. I don't have
Thank
any
you.
idea, but I'll, I'll keep my eyes open for you.
I appreciate
My
that.
eyes and my ears.
Right? It's like calling all crafters. Like, friends, how do we solve this
Yeah.
problem for me? Because I want them to fit together without gaps and I don't know what to do. So anyway, but I think my question was,
We need like
do
the little
you
Batman sign.
exactly. The signal is up. The signal is up. I think my
Yeah.
question was, do you have projects that you think about for a long time until you're able to bring them to fruition?
Oh my gosh. Yes, all the time. I probably all of them. I I am an overthinker for sure. I wish that I could turn that off,
Right.
but even if you see like the tiniest little thing, it's like I'm always constantly thinking about it, what I can do, how I can change it. And then
Mhm.
even when I'm like doing it, sometimes like live on, the video, it's like I still am trying to figure out something and
Mhm.
changing it. Maybe sometimes I make things a little bit more complicated when I don't know. It's a whole process.
Right. Right. So do you have opportunity to make something every day? And is that important to you?
I do have the opportunity to do that. Yes. Do I? Not always. I feel like probably I was actually really good at it before I started the whole book
Sure.
process. I did run into a little tiny bit of burnout,
Yeah.
probably like in the fall or the winter. But I
Mhm.
think now I don't know if it's like spring is out or it's kind of like a fresh new start. I think that energy and that creativity is coming back. So I actually in the past probably like maybe month or so I have been making something every pretty much every day. So
Oh, that's awesome.
it's back.
I love that. I love that. I feel
Yeah.
like my I have several big girl jobs, but and my calling, my absolute calling though is to make things with my hands. And I it's one of the I think about it all the time, you know, it's always like when can I get to my workspace, when can I try this, and I think that's why I've been thinking about this bear so much. And what's so weird is like, Tim, I'm not outdoorsy. like I am hotel-y. Like I'm not I'm not like
Yeah.
a camper girl or like roughing it. No, that's not what I do. So I don't know why I have this stupid bear stuck in my head, because I'm not like a wildernessy person. I'm too precious.
Do you have bears around you? I love it. You like to glamp.
I do,
I'm with you there.
maybe if the glamping had running
Yeah.
water and like, and I mean, and I live on a farm, so it's a very weird like place to be in, but I can't stop thinking about this bear. Like it's just in my brain. So, but yeah, it's like I think those of us who are crafters, artists, and makers, and friends in the comments, tell me if this is you too. Like I look forward to time in my workspace. Tim, what about you?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I it's like the happiest place to be. When you sit down, you have all of the supplies in front
Mhm.
of you. And it just like everything just kind of like comes together. So I mean, even sometimes like, when it doesn't, like when you're like if you've made a mistake and you are experimenting, and I I think that that's I don't it just is such a it's just so what is the word that I want? Like it's fulfilling, and it just is like just the happiest that you could be.
Right. Oh, for sure. So what do you say to people and or maybe they don't say this to you, but what do you say to people who say I'm just not creative? Does that ever come up in your work?
That comes up all the time, and to that I say I don't believe you. I feel like
Right.
everyone is creative. Everyone
Mhm.
is creative. I when I was younger, I wanted to be an animator, and I just like I love to draw. I love to like do all sorts of
Mhm.
just different little crafty things. But I always came back to, well, I'm not that good of a drawer. I'm not that good of a drawer.
Mhm.
Am I saying that right? Anyway,
That's how I say it.
um,
Mhm.
so yeah, okay, okay. So I think that people oftentimes compare themselves to realism, and like, well, it has to go into a museum, or it has to look like maybe like Martha Stewart made it, or it might have to look like the way that Jolene makes it, or it has to look like how Tim makes it.
Mhm.
And I just don't I think that everyone does have their creativity. You just have to lean into it and just
Mhm.
make it your own style. I think that a lot of people that say that they are not creative that I have come across, and they actually like start to draw or paint or just create something with clay or whatever. It's like, well, I would have never thought about that before. So it's like
Right.
they come to it with a completely different set of skills and mindset and eyes. And it's like, well, you're probably more creative than I am, because I get into a rhythm of creativity, and you're kind of shaking me up by thinking of it in a
Mm.
different, maybe more analytical way or something like that.
Mhm.
So that's my answer. I do think that everybody is creative in their own
Well,
way.
and I like the way that you frame it within, lean into it and just try. I also think that as adults, I think that it is muscle memory. And I think that it's a little bit
Mhm.
of like conditioning. Because people ask me
Yeah.
often, like, I don't know how I don't know how you come up with this. And you are so creative. But the real truth of the matter is that I practice, right? Like I
Yeah.
practice
Yeah.
being creative and I practice, just trying. And the more I try, like the more I learn. So, like my son, for example, my son Ray, Sunrise, I have never made something literal like that. Like I've made tons of mosaics with bookboard, but never intentionally something literal. It's always been quite figurative. And when I started that project, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. This is probably a little bit too, like, I thought it would be too cute, right? And not kind of edgy and weird. And I was like, I don't know. But then in the process of making it, it was so much more challenging. And I really, really like the finished product. And so now I got that damn bear in my head. So I think that though, if I hadn't, if you don't practice, you can't grow that muscle. Like you just, if it sits dormant, it's kind of like I might be an amazing figure skater, but I've never tried. right? Like I don't know how to do
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but maybe it exists inside me, but I've never given it a whirl. I kind of feel that way about arts, craft, and being creative too. Like you don't know until you try.
I I completely agree. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. And our friends here in the comments too are saying that um, uh, being in their workspaces, their craft spaces, and it might be a room like Tim's or a workshop like mine. It might even be a desk in your home or the kitchen table. But sitting down and having some creative expression is a form of self care. What are your thoughts on that, Mr. Sevitz?
Absolutely. I think that anytime that you lean into doing something for yourself, being creative, expressing yourself, no matter what it is, it could be like writing, it could be, I don't know, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it could be like painting nails or
Right.
doing, like anything. I think uh, anytime that you sit down and you do something to better yourself, I think that that's really important.
It's enriching, right? Like I
Totally.
feel I feel built up, or I feel like I have this expression that I didn't know was weird until one of my friends said it was weird. But sometimes I say, I feel all shined up. And it's almost like I visualize like a penny. I feel like a dirty little penny. And
Yeah.
then, I do something that, I feel so connected to and it enriches my life and I feel all shined up. It just makes me feel good. And I just absolutely love it. And, in our line of work, right, being crafty people with crafty people who listen to us, it's just been like one of the best gifts of my life. I mean, I don't have a million followers, but I cannot believe the followers that I do have, and I love it so much. How do you feel about that part of your life?
I yes, I completely agree. I
Mhm.
think that I still honestly like when I start to like kind of like look at the numbers, it's like what in the world is happening? Like how many people are following me? But then wait, early on, I used to look Google like how many people what does it look like to have like 1,000 people like in a room and stuff like that? And so like I would look at it and be like, oh my gosh. And then like they start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like, oh my goodness, all of these people are like just
Mhm.
watching, like following and watching everything. What was the question? I'm so sorry.
How does it feel to have that many people? Like, I mean, and how do you feel about like having followers?
it's It is, overwhelming sometimes, but I
Mhm.
I feel like when I love it. I love the community. I love meeting
Mhm.
people like you. I feel like it is a platform that has kind of been dropped in my lap. I have to be, and I have to do something with it in a really fun and positive way. I
Yeah.
try to do that. And it just I love I know I when I was going back to when I was little, I was very quiet, very kind of like insecure. I'm not the best communicator, probably like you can tell. So it is kind of funny to have people follow along and I think it's like, well, why are these people um, why do they have an interest in what I am doing? And I have to really kind of like lean into the positivity
Mhm.
and the I am grateful that people are welcoming me into their space and just wanting me to share my thoughts and opinions. I love the
Well,
community. I have
I
met so many amazing people.
Well, when you say you don't know why, I know why. Um, I know why you have a million followers, and it is because, in my humble and esteemed opinion, it is because you are so safe. You are safe and
Oh,
kind, and a person never feels in danger or a threat of being offended or not welcomed. Like when you say, you're going to love this one. I'm like, I bet I will, because Timm says I'm gonna love this one. Like you embody this ideology that all are welcome at the table. Like you do not have to be, destined for the museum. You just have to be willing to play. And I think that that is so refreshing for folks when you come across their feed. And that's why. I know I'm right. So I'm so happy for you because you are one of those folks where what you see is what you get. Like we all can tell that you are exactly who you present. And that feels refreshing. And as we talk about, authenticity in what can be an unauthentic world, this world of social media. And I think that's why my followers stick with me too. I don't have a lot of like sometimes I look at my work, my videos and stuff, and I'm like, oh, Joleen, like they're so rough and they're not aesthetically like they're just, they're like they're a little slapped together sometimes. But I believe that they forgive me for it and they know my intentions are good. I don't know.
I thank you honestly, you have made my day. Thank you for saying that. Everything that you can see is what I try to do and how I
You're
try
doing a
to
great job. Yes.
welcome people. Thank you. Thank you so much. I likewise to you. I feel like to me you whenever you go live on TikTok and whenever I just like listen to you and you like you're just so kind and you talk to people and you just tell like the funniest little stories and just the way that you are, you cannot fake that. And the fact that you go I don't know recently, but back a little while ago, it was kind of like 3 or 4 times a week. And it's like, this
Yeah.
lady obviously has to be authentic because you cannot get online for a couple of hours and just fake it. The cracks will show eventually, and they never have. And so
It's
that's why
so
I
true.
appreciate you because you are so sweet. And you have the
Thank
best
you.
voice too. Like it's like
Well,
what is it like ASMR or whatever?
oh, right, right. We've had people suggest that too. And Tim, I have to let you in on a little secret. So, one of my little content creator hacks is I go live a lot because I hate editing and I and I hate like putting it
So
all
smart.
together. Right. And going live is like my biggest cheat. Like I just turn it on so I can be with people. Um, and I don't have to film, edit, voiceover. I'm so lazy when it comes to some of that stuff.
Yes.
Um, and I
The
also turn it
editing part is like it is the worst.
on. And that's what I mean by sometimes I look at my stuff and I'm like, oh, good grief. Like, and also too, like, I have projects that can take a month or two to finish. And so there's not a lot to report. I'm still coiling paper, I'm still winding it and gluing it. Like there hasn't been a whole lot of change. Um, but like I love my followers and I love my moderators. Oh my Lord. I would be lost without my crew because I mean, I am very sensitive as people should be. And we should, love and embrace people with kind hearts because like the world needs us. And what I used to
Yeah.
feel like, like I was one of those young kids where people like I'm sure I was called a crybaby, or I am sure that my parents told me I always wore my heart on my sleeve, and I was so too sensitive. Too sensitive came up a lot for me in my life.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would
Yes.
never say that to a person now because I just honestly don't believe that to be true because I've learned, right? Because it was just my birthday on Monday. I have learned that my sensitivity is my
Right.
greatest strength. And so I don't think we should, push that out of people. I think that we should embrace that. But without my moderators, Tim, I would not be able to turn that on because, as I'm sure you know, the online world is not always nice. And so if you saw the list of blocked words from my lives,
I
it's
can't even
hilarious.
imagine.
My moderators had to block the word hobbit.
What?
because yes,
Hobbit?
Hobbit, troll,
Joleen, what?
because of my hands. Because so many people would jump
Uh,
in my comments
oh
and
my
say that I
gosh.
had Hobbit hands, and it would make me upset. So the word Hobbit
People
is
are
on my
so
block
mean.
list.
Oh,
Isn't
I don't
that
like that.
hilarious? I know it's so mean, but it's so funny. Like it makes
Sometimes
me
I
laugh.
actually I have a rule. Yeah, well, I do have a rule whenever I read people's comments.
Mm,
I started this really early on. It's I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I always
right.
try to read it with, I mean, Hobbit hands. There's nothing positive about that, but like I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt when I get a um, comment, because you never know like where people are coming from. You never know if they're
Yeah.
trying to be helpful. I mean, something like my communication skills are not that great either. So like sometimes like if I leave a comment for somebody, it's like, why in the world is he saying that? But
Mhm.
I do think that it is important to, like just maybe give people the benefit of the doubt. But I don't know, like I feel like when you go live on certain Facebook, ooh, I get a lot of like crazy messages over on Facebook.
I know, me too.
Sorry to
And
all my
that's
Facebook friends.
well, and that's why I say that like I wouldn't do some of the things I do if I didn't have a team of lovely people who
Yeah.
help. It's almost like they help me stay safe in my own, you know, like and it's kind of sad that like I'm just a regular middle-aged lady who crafts. Like it's not like we ask for any kind of celebrity or anything, like
Yeah.
you know and so I think that you can become fair game when you're live streaming to the things that people say that they might not know how it lands. So I'm
Yeah.
forever grateful to my community for protecting me and
I
coming up
love
with
that.
these lists of block words.
Keeping
Even
your
though
keeping your space peaceful for you. I
yes,
love that.
exactly,
That's awesome.
exactly. So okay, so what is the name of the book?
The book is called The Happiest Kids Crafts in the World. I'm so
That's
excited.
such a
I have
great
it here.
title.
Let me Oh,
Oh,
my
Tim,
office is such a mess. The Happiest Kids Crafts in the World.
oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, it's
Yeah.
a big one.
It's yeah, it's pretty 75 little
Impressive.
crafts in there.
Oh, that's
Whew.
great. And it will be available on the 8th. Is that correct?
April 8th, yes.
April
Next
8th. That's like
a
6
week
days.
from yeah. Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh,
gosh.
that's so crazy.
That's so crazy. I'll be sure to link it in the show notes and all of that. So where people can find it and support
Oh, thank
you.
you.
And like, I'm so happy for you. This is like so exciting. So
Thank
if
you
you can
so
believe
much.
it, we are
Thank
almost out
you.
of time. Oh, you're welcome. Like you are
Oh
so
my
welcome.
gosh, wow.
I know, right? It goes so fast, but I cannot let you go without doing our favorite segment, which is I have 10 questions that I ask everybody, and you can elaborate, you can
Okay.
give
Oh
one
dear.
word answers. I promise they're not even hard. So, Tim, what is your favorite word?
Okay. Okay. Right now, my favorite word, it's not I do a word every year.
Mm.
Um and the word that the word for this year is momentum.
Ooh.
And I wanted to use that word to kind of go into 2025 with knowing that I have stuff behind me and
Mm.
pushing through and just using everything that I have built and continuing that momentum into the future. So
That's a great word.
that's my serious word.
No, I love it. And I also love that you said my favorite word right now, because I think
Mhm.
that like it's very situational and it definitely jumps and hops and like it just kind of depends. And this is the first year that I've really thought about having a word of the year. And mine is arrival.
Ooh, I love
because
that.
thank you. And the reason I chose it is because I am always chasing. I am always chasing something, like the next big idea, or I don't know. I'm just always been very goal driven and I chase. And my favorite aunt recently, or, in the recent past said to Darren and I, she said, do you guys ever take a moment to just enjoy everything you've built? And I was like, no, no, we don't. We just keep, pressing on. And so I decided to maybe start looking at things like, what am I chasing? It's already right here. Like
I love that.
I've arrived, right? Like it's here. It doesn't mean the goals go out the window or all of that stuff, but I really want to just look around and like have more gratitude. And so that's why I chose Arrival.
That is beautiful. I love that.
Right? I'm
Gosh,
so deep.
yeah, I'm gonna use that for mine.
Right.
For
Right.
good
And then I'm going to take
momentum.
momentum. Like, I love
Yeah.
this. I love this whole concept. I think it's so fun. So then on the other side of it, Timm, do you have a least favorite word?
I don't. Oh, a least favorite word. I don't have a least favorite word.
Mm,
I don't think so. I think that there are sometimes like there's like combinations of words, like different like
yes.
little phrases and stuff like that. But
Yes.
um, maybe not. Maybe
Hmm.
not like a word. I can't think of anything right out of
Yeah.
the gate.
Mine is a phrase. It is like fingernails on a chalkboard or the idea of somebody chewing tinfoil. When a person says, it is what it is. Like, I hate that so much, partly because my brain doesn't understand it. I'm just like, is that an excuse? Is it a metaphor? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
And it's so overused. And so, like, the context of it, it's like, I ran out of water. It is what it is,
What does it mean?
I don't get it. It makes me nuts.
Mine are like kind of like, like when people are like kind of like overly like corporate-y, like they
Oh,
use like that, like
yes.
kind of like overly used, like just kind of like little buzzwords and stuff like that.
Yes.
I don't know. I
Like
don't know why
like
that bothers
like
me, but
ping me later, or, like those, let's circle back.
yes, yeah, that actually is a good one. Yeah.
I can't remember, like, in my corporate days, uh, oh god, there was one, Timm, and it drove me absolutely crazy, but it was something like, um, "Oh, bring me up to speed, bring them up to speed," or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just always had like visions of like race cars in my head and like, was just so distracted by this, bring me up to speed. Like, oh, okay. You can tell I'm like easily annoyed. Like my fuse is like this long. Okay, this next question is very serious.
Okay.
What is the best kind of sandwich?
Oh, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
There's so many different types of sandwich.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a sandwich, but my favorite one is like a Greek, like a really
Ooh,
good Greek hero, like
yes.
with tzatziki and onions
Yes. And
and
the
chicken.
dill sauce.
Yes,
Yes.
I love
Oh,
that.
that
Or
sounds
club,
lovely.
like a club
Ooh.
sandwich with like
Mhm.
rice, sourdough bread.
Mhm.
Those are good too.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. I myself lately have been in a fruit and cheese phase.
Ooh,
So if you've heard me on my live, I say it all the time. My favorite food is toast. Like I love toast so much. And because there are just limitless possibilities of what a
yes,
person can do with toast.
yes.
And so I like toast with cheese and blackberries. But then you
Ooh,
also add arugula, and because then it makes it peppery, and then you add like a spicy sauce, like a Cholula or like something, or a Tabasco, something with like a hit of heat.
oh my gosh.
Change your life. It'll change your life. I'm telling you, it is like the best possible lunch.
What kind of
Mhm,
cheese?
mhm. What kind of cheese? So
Yeah.
maybe brie, or maybe like kind of a more like a stinky soft,
Okay. Love
like a
that.
stinky soft cheese would work good. I got this idea from, do you watch Bake Off, the British baking show?
Oh my gosh, Jolene,
Okay,
I'm obsessed.
right. So am I. So
Every
am I.
single week I'm like glued to the TV. I'm like crying at the end of the
Oh,
episode.
I
I
love it. I
love it.
love how nice they are. I love how they don't talk about each other behind. Like, I love it. But
Yes.
Prue wrote a book called Toast.
What?
I
I've never even
I
heard of this
own
before.
I own said book. Dan gave it to me for Christmas, and like this was a Prue idea that you take the toast, you put on the brie, you put on the blackberries, the arugula, and then some spicy squirt sauce, and it's delicious. And this book
Oh,
is amazing.
okay. I'm gonna have to look up this book.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love
It's
toast and I love Prue, so
I know, me too. But
it's like a win-win.
did they replace Prue?
I hope not. I the, let's gossip a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
let's.
I hope that they don't because I keep seeing her like they keep
Yes.
posting things and it's all of the same cast, but she's the only one that is not there. So
I will revolt because my heart broke when we lost Mary Berry, and then I like had to warm up to Prue, and now I love Prue.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love her so much. I love her glasses. I love her style. I love the things that she says. It always makes me so mad. If we may gossip for a moment, it makes me so mad that a handshake from Paul Hollywood is more valuable than love from Prue. Like that makes me
I
so
I
mad.
I actually agree. I mean, I do
Thank
cheer
you.
for people when they do get the handshake, but I completely agree with you. It's like,
Yes.
why is that more valuable? I yeah, I completely agree.
Exactly. And so if we lose Prue, my heart is going to be broken because I've heard rumblings that like I know, like they
I
didn't
I
call me.
I hope not. I listen, I could talk about the British Bake Show
I know,
forever.
right?
Like Noel, I love him. Remember little
I do
Sandy and like
too.
she was like the sidekick? I That
Yes.
combination was so amazing.
Did you see it when she fell off the counter?
Yeah.
She was
So
laying,
Allison,
she's
I love her.
laying face down and she's like, "Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Just leave me in my shame." It was hilarious. I love those guys.
She is so
Oh,
funny.
I'm gonna miss them so much. I hope it's just rumor. When
Yes,
they
I hope
call
so
me
too.
and ask me my opinion, I will say, "Tim and I talked about it,"
Yes,
and
please do.
leave well enough alone.
Don't mess with our favorite things.
I know, right? Okay, so what about this? Do you believe there's a scary animal? And if so, what is it? Because not everybody believes there's a scary animal, but I believe there's a scary animal. So
I my probably like my like philosophical question would be like, oh no, there's
right.
absolutely no like scary animal. I do feel like I do feel like all animals do have a beauty to them. They
Mhm.
are all just kind of like us. Maybe they're
Yeah.
misunderstood.
Mhm.
They're, whatever. So that's the philosophical answer. My actual like my real answer.
Now the truth, yeah.
Yeah. The truth is spiders
Ah,
are terrifying to me.
mhm.
I am trying. There's an account on, I think it is on TikTok or maybe it's on Instagram. I don't know where it's this lady and she has like this little jumping spider pet and she kind of like romanticizes
Mm.
this little animal and like it'll like she'll like feed it it will take naps like in the palm of her hand and while I would love to think that I could do that, it helps that this person, like, is even, like, when I was little, like, if I was going through the encyclopedia, I couldn't even touch the page that, like, there was, like, a picture of a spider on there. Oh, they just are so scary. So now I'm trying to embrace they're beautiful, they're whatever, but, ooh, if there's a big gigantic and we live down here in Texas too, so it's like, the spiders are not joking around. So when I see them in the house, they're scary.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Um, So for me, I live on a farm and this answer changes. For a long time it was skunk. Just
Oh,
because like I think they're like let me look at you from a distance. Like I get it, you're beautiful. But like I don't want you to tangle with my dog because like
no.
it would just mean so much work for me. And it would be terrible for my dog. Like it's bad for all of us, right? So for the longest time I said skunk. But now I am changing my tune a little bit because I haven't seen any lately. So I am going to have to say that I agree with you on the spider thing, but only if they're big and fuzzy. Because in my office, like several months ago, I walked into my office and, like, no kidding, there was something like softball size. And I live in Minnesota, so we
Oh,
don't have scary spiders. Like, you know, but I did in my office. It was like this big. And I froze and I like thought about it for a minute. Like, I mean, it looked like a tarantula, but we don't have those here. And so I took a picture of it and, sent it to Darren. And I didn't ask him to come and save me. I didn't. I just was like sharing the news like this. I found this, in my office. And like we Googled what it was, and it was some kind of North African barn swallow. I don't know. It was like, but I
oh my
took care of
God.
it myself. I took it outside. But my
Oh,
question, Tim, my question, where are its parents?
yes.
like, like, I
That's
mean,
the bigger question.
right? Like, I think, like, again, the more philosophical discussion is I see you, I respect you. Okay. I'm sure many people find you beautiful. I just want to know where your family is. Like, that's all I want to know. And I want to know, like, is this going to be a permanent relationship that we're having right now? Like, is this a meet and greet? Like, what's the plan in the bigger picture? Like, those were my questions. But yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, it stopped me like dead in my tracks. Does it ever like you're just like, well, like
I think it almost is kind of like this like primal fear where it's like you're just
yes,
like it's like so like it just kind of like takes the breath out of you.
it did.
I don't
Just that
know.
whole knock the wind out of the sails thing.
Mhm.
Like it just like I just froze for a minute. But I am so proud of myself that I did not call in reinforcements. I got a piece of cardboard and I think probably a water glass, and I like took it outside and let it live its best life among the other large animals of the outdoors,
Yeah,
where it should have been. But yeah, it stopped me dead
I
in my
love
tracks.
that. I love that you saved it.
I did,
That is very
yeah.
kind of you.
Yeah, I don't it's so funny. Like, this is so funny. So, Darren and I don't really like, we don't kill bugs really unless it's like a fly or something, but like,
Yeah.
around here we have a lot of box elder bugs, and we had a box elder bug, just one, living in our kitchen for like, I don't know, 6 months or something, and it was just kind of like living its best life, like all over the place.
Uh-huh.
And we had a friend over for dinner, and our friend didn't have the same, I know it's coming, right? And like they didn't know, like we didn't say, hey, we have a pet box elder bug. Like we just kept ignoring it or putting it back on a plant or whatever. And we're in the middle of a discussion about something, and he just instinctively whap, and he
Oh no. Your little
like
friend.
bare hand and everything, And Jared and I both looked at each other like, like, oh, poor dude. Like he'd been living his best life with us for so long. But anyway,
Oh my gosh. That's sad and funny at the
I
same time.
know, right? Well, and it doesn't count too with like we have so many like, do you guys have Asian beetles? Like they look like a ladybug, but they're not.
Yes. Yeah, we actually do have a lot of those.
Yeah, and we have so many of those that we need help keeping them out of our house. So, like, those are the exceptions to the
Uh,
you must die rule
yeah.
because we can't have those in our house where we have guests. But anyway,
Yeah.
oh, I digress. I got down in I called it a wormhole today, but Darren said it's not a wormhole. Like, what is that when your brain goes on a,
Like a little rabbit trail?
yeah, something
Or
like that. Like, I called it, it'll come to me, but I called it the wrong thing. Like, I said, I don't know, maybe I said it right. Anyway, how about this question? Is there a sound or a noise that you love?
I love people. I have two, I think. I
Yes.
love people, the sound of people laughing,
Yeah.
especially if especially if the person doesn't normally typically laugh, like if they're like really
Mm,
serious
yeah.
and they have like an uncontrollable laugh.
Hmm.
I think that that is one of my very favorite sounds because it's like,
Yes.
you if they are laughing, you know that it is hilarious or like the situation
Right.
is
It's good
just
stuff.
the best. Yeah,
Hmm.
I love that.
Hmm.
The second one is I love the sound of my little cats whenever they like
Oh,
snore or like purr. I love that. It's just like you're content, you're living your best life. You're loved. They just
that's
feel
so
safe.
sweet.
Yeah, those are
So,
my
so I have a theory. So tell me, like, I hope I don't exclude a lot of people, but I honestly don't really trust people who don't like animals.
I agree.
You
I
know,
there's yeah. How can you not? How can you
right?
not?
Like there's a gap for me. Like if you're not an animal person, I don't know. Like I don't know what that means about you. Like
Yeah,
that makes me think you might be shady. Because I
yeah.
love animals so much. And like, I mean, I've raised animal lovers. My children all love animals. Like we just love them. And so like I identify with like the sound of your cats or the sound of laughter. My mom, like me, has a really, I mean, I've been told I have a contagious laugh. My mom has one that like when I was younger, I have a very distinct memory. We went to a movie and I went with my cousins and our parents, and the parents sat in the back, and all of us kids sat down in the front. And I wish I could remember the name of the movie, but we were down in the front and we could hear my mom laughing. And my mom has kind of like a deep, like it doesn't sound like it comes out of a petite person. Like it's ungodly the noise that she makes, but it's so funny. And I remember as a kid, I remember like sinking down in my chair, like, oh my God, mom, you know. But now I love it and treasure it so much. And I'll have to get her going when I have a recording device so that like I can have this like forever because like you, I
Yes, yes,
love
definitely.
that sound.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. I love that sound so much. All right. So what about this one? So other than the profession you're in, is there a profession that you would like to attempt? Like, are you a hidden figure skater like me? Like,
I no. Oh my gosh, no. I need one of those like little like the like little walkers
yeah,
that
of course. Yeah.
like
Those hockey learners. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
I think I have 2. I have one serious and then like maybe well, maybe they're both. I don't know. I feel like I always joke around and I always say that I would have loved to be like a little like kindergarten teacher. I just think
Sure.
that that would be so hilarious and
Mhm.
so fun, very rewarding. I love little kids. Um, I think that they are I just think that they're hilarious, and I think that, like, if you had them for, like, a year or 2, it
Mhm.
actually maybe that would be heartbreaking too, 'cause, you would get used to them and then, they
Yeah.
would, like, move on or whatever, but
Mhm.
I do think that that would be a really fun job to have,
Aw.
and hard job too.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
think
Agreed.
but my other one would be, like, if I have always been fascinated with, like, art history and art restoration. So being
Mm.
an art restorer, um,
Cool.
when I went to France a couple of years ago, we went to the Louvre, and that was the first time that I had ever been there, and like just kind of like walking through and like seeing all of these things. It's like they didn't have any like dust on them. They didn't have
Mhm.
anything wrong with them. They all looked brand new, and I think to be an art restorer where you take care of these pieces and maybe you go in and you paint like a little tiny thing without destroying it. I think that that would be fascinating and
Oh,
really kind of
agreed.
cool. Yeah.
Oh, agreed. So if I had to do it all over again, I definitely would have majored in art, because the understanding of different art mediums came to me much later. Like when I was choosing a major, I never thought I could major in art because, Tim, I can't draw. I'm not a good drawer, can't draw a cat to save my life. Like I do not have that skill set, but I am able to look at things and rearrange or recreate, or like mixed media arts is definitely my lane. And I would have loved to have been an art professor, to
Mm,
help people really like dig in and play and try and experiment. And like, I mean, I use a bandsaw and I use a scroll saw and I have a guillotine. Like, I have all of these awesome tools that really help me create the things that I love. And I would love to be able to like bring that to people in a way that maybe like me, they didn't know that a mixed media format was possible or even a thing. I don't know. Maybe I can still be that. I don't know.
I was just gonna say, I almost feel like you already kind of do that.
Right.
You are such a great teacher. You have such a great
Thank
enthusiasm
you.
for your craft, and I almost feel like while you might not necessarily do like tutorials, like
Mhm.
from start to finish, you do teach people, and you kind of already have that
Yeah, I guess
now,
I
and
have
I
a
love
little
it.
yeah, I have like a little toe in the door there, but
Uh-huh.
I would love to like I had this idea of doing like a retreat intensive where like I would
Ooh.
limit the size and it would be like maybe 6 people and they would come and make one of my bigger projects like start to finish,
Oh,
like on the bandsaw, on the, on all of it and stuff. But then it was like, well, that's a little bit of liability and all those kinds of things. So that kind of got backburnered. But I just love the idea of being with people and like having them come up with what the project is and then
mm.
helping them navigate how we get there. Like I just maybe still, right? But it's like the bear. I can't stop thinking about that either. So
You know it's a good sign if you can't stop thinking about it.
right.
Like, sometimes when like, I don't know about you, but, like, sometimes when you, like, close your eyes at night, like, right before you fall asleep, it's like you can, like, start to visualize. You know that
Yes.
you're on the right track if that
Yes.
starts happening to you.
Yes, the passion, the obsession, like whatever that is called, right? It's
Yes.
that they're kissing me goodnight for sure.
Oh,
So
love
on
it.
the other end of that spectrum, Tim, is there a profession that you just know you're like, nope, nope, couldn't do that one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like probably something that has to do with, like, maybe, like, cleaning out, like, sewers,
Yeah, like gross
um,
things. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not sure that I would be good at that.
Yeah. Like I can't do, I mean, again, like I don't even camp. So like wilderness things, gross things, like I am not ashamed of my pampered existence.
Yeah,
Like I feel fine about running water. I feel fine about a hot shower,
yeah.
a bathroom that flushes. Like I'm good. I'm good. Call me
I'm right there
vain.
with
Go
you,
ahead.
yeah.
Like I'm comfortable there. Like it's totally fine. Yeah, I'm not doing anything gross.
Yeah, I agree.
Nope. All right. Last question. Last question. What brings you the most happiness?
Oh my gosh. The most happiness.
The most.
I think probably just being around people that understand you and that listen to you and that you can just be yourself around. That is being to me, I think that that brings you the most brings me the most happiness. I don't know. I mean, I would throw in, like being here, being surrounded by like color, maybe
Mhm.
walking through like I just talked about like going to the Louvre. I mean,
Yeah.
that brings me a lot of happiness too. A lot of things bring me happiness.
Yeah.
I don't even I'm not sure. Like going through
That
like
was
the
a
grocery
great
store,
answer,
like
though.
looking at all like the fruits and vegetables, like
It's a
I
great
can
answer
yeah.
because like I've had lots of like I think you're my 45th show. So I've been doing this for a little over a year and I've had a different answer maybe I don't know if I would answer all the time, but as you were talking, I mean, I feel pretty happy right now. So I think that like being in community with people who ignite your joy, as crazy
Yes.
and cliche as that may sound, like I have enjoyed this conversation. I've enjoyed being with you. I've enjoyed our friends and followers listening now and later. Like it's just a pretty sweet gig. And it brings me back to my word and yours, right? Arrival, momentum, like it's all a part of it. And it makes me pretty darn happy.
You have said it the best. I agree.
Oh, well, thank you. I am a podcast host. So thank you.
And a good one at that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I honestly thank you, Timm. Friends, this is Timm Sevitz, and he has written a book, The Best Art. Say it again.
The happiest kids crafts in the world.
The Happiest Kids Crafts in the World, which I think is a wonderful title. You can find him on all of the social places. I will be sure to link where you can find him in the show notes. I will be sure to link where you can get the book. I will even link Prue's book about toast. I
Yes,
will
yes, yes,
do
yes. Please
all
do.
of those things to make it easy for you to find. I hope you will join me next week where my guest is Sherry Ryba. Sherry is a person who you want to spend some time with. She is a dancer, a movement educator, a yoga therapist, and a writer. She's written a book too that I happen to have on my bedside stand. And she is going to be here talking with us about the women's empowerment and understanding our bodies and getting exactly what we need and want. I mean, saucy conversation. I can't wait. And that's going to be next week, April 9th. So please be sure to join us. Timm, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being here, and so many congratulations on your continued success. I'm so proud to call you friend.
Thank you so much, Joleen. Right back at you. I am so thankful for your friendship, and thank you for having me. It's been so much fun.
I know, right? All right. Well, we'll see you next time, everybody. Thank you for being here on Joleen's Happy Time Craftcast. I sure appreciate it. Bye, everybody.